Hello. Hi. I was born and raised in Louisiana. I moved out here 10 years ago. This is the first event with guests and everything like this my mom flew to come see me do, so please give Mom a hand. She took me to see this movie 20 years ago when I was only 9. I've been hosting these events between the Chinese Theater, the New Beverly Cinema, the New Art Theater, mostly 90s teen comedies because they're the best kind of movies ever made. There's no doubt in my mind that people will forget what came out today in theaters, but in 10 years, they'll still be talking about 10 things. I always try to have these kind of immersive experiences. You know, it's cool to go watch a 90s movie at a retro theater at midnight, but I like it, and I really hope it works out the way where each and every you get the autograph and the photo that you deserve, because the cast will be coming here. We will be doing a Q&A. I watched Letters to Cleo perform early in rehearsal. She was in like a sweater from Ross. It was amazing. I try to do things that are experiences. I've gotten to meet and live so many of my dreams, and you know, like with my mom, she had a wedding business that didn't work out, and that was her dream. And now she's sitting there watching me live mine. I really have gotten to know this cast over the last 5 years, mostly through emails and AOL Instant Messenger. They really love this movie, but more importantly, they love that you love this movie. And just because they're not here tonight doesn't mean that they don't take this moment or what's happening here for granted. And I want you to know that. Well, when I was born with Asperger's syndrome. I was born with autism. I know that might surprise you now, but that's what I feel like a lot of Asperger's kids need to be told they can do to people, is surprise them. Yes, I'm nervous, and yes, I'm sweating, but when I was up on this stage 5 years ago, Joseph Gordon-Levitt asked me, he goes, "How do you know more about this movie than we do?" And I said, "Oh, I have Asperger's." And like, I've never told anyone that. Like, it was the weirdest, but the thing is everyone laughed like you just did, but then everyone clapped. There you go. There you go. And so that's the thing, is I started reaching out, and before you knew it, that thing went to like OK Magazine and People Magazine, things that honestly I don't even read, but I read that article. And then people around the world from Australia and New York reached out to me about how I could get on stage, how I could have James flash this bright light in my face, and ultimately led me to a charity card, Ourtism, O-U-R-T-I-S-M, which is in the house. I decided after taking a year off of events that if I'm going to come back to events, I'm going to go big or go home, but I'm going to make sure that proceeds, part of the sales, and in other ways go to autism support, because it could always use an extra hand. I really do put blood, sweat, and tears into these things. That was probably the best audience I've ever seen this movie with. When I did this event 5 years ago, I told you how important it was because I spoke out about having Asperger's syndrome. And it was because of Joseph Gordon-Levitt that I slipped that out. I just think this isn't quite right here. I think we need another chair. Oh my God, my mom's here, but so is Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Guys, thank you enough for this. I'm a fan like everyone else in this room. We all love this movie. We all just clapped and cheered. And this is the kickoff to my birthday month. And I couldn't ask for a better set of fans, but I also couldn't ask for a better cast and crew from this film. Not only did some of them come 5 years ago, you know, a lot of them returned. And that means you did a good job. And without further ado, I am going to introduce the first, actually we have two duos. We have a guy duo and a girl duo. And that would be the people who are responsible for getting these actors to say these words. And that would be the fabulous writers of Also Legally Blonde. She's the Man. House Bunny. I bow down to these writers sometimes. Please welcome Karen McCullough and Kirsten Kiwi Smith. For the first time, I've never met these guys, but producing is a huge part of this movie. They're responsible for casting, getting the script to screen these ladies' words. So please welcome Andrew and Mark. All right, so we're gonna round out the girls tonight. Unfortunately, Susan has a touch of bad, illness, and she could not join us tonight. But let me tell you someone who I haven't met that I have been a diehard fan of since I was maybe 2 years old. I love Hilary Duff, and she was Lizzie McGuire, but Larissa Olnick was Alex Mack. So, please welcome Larissa Olnick. Now, in many ways, we wouldn't be here, it wouldn't be possible. Wisdom, this place is amazing. This is the first time, and I hope not the last time to host here. As you can see, I'm overwhelmed with love. But this guy gives you the smolder. He's the biggest douche in the movie, but he's probably got the biggest heart out of everyone. So please welcome Andrew Keegan. Let me tell you something. It doesn't matter how big or small you are in a movie. If the movie is one of the greatest movies ever made, it counts if you only had one really, truly line that is the best line of the whole movie. It's the best line. You wrote it. You all agree. You're tweeting it. Nigel with the Brie, right? So, please, I'm interested to talk to him. He sounds like another fellow motivational speaker. Please welcome Kyle Cease.
Bogey Lowenstein in the house.
And then I've already said enough, but you know what? This was planned and conceived in New Orleans. I was on set. A guy named Henry Juice and Roel Schulman, they're best friends. They're filming a movie, and I got to go to set, and he allowed me to come see him while I was on set, and that truly made my Christmas. And when that happened, the plot was conceived to do this, and it just wouldn't have been the same without him. So please welcome the Joseph Gordon-Levitt. All right, so you heard that. You were here and heard this audience 20 years later laughing like that, cheering like that, going ow like that. This is unbelievable, and it starts with Karen and Kiwi here, because you guys wrote this. This is your first big Hollywood script. How did this idea, where did you fit in high school to come up with this idea of characters? Because it's spot on.
Well, thanks, Corey. It's based on Taming of the Shrew, if you didn't figure that out throughout the movie. And we just kind of stole the plot and put it in high school. It's as simple as that.
We also had a little inspiration. Karen had a list of 10 things I hate about Anthony that she'd written, and once she said that to me, I was like, ooh, 10 things I hate about you, movie title idea. And then we came up with the let's do Taming of the Shrew as a teen movie, and those things kind of gelled together. And there were many other parts along the journey, like we went to Puerto Vallarta, we drank a bunch of beers, we outlined we started.
We started this movie on the beach in Puerto Vallarta with a bucket of Corona next to us.
The place where you start all your movies, on the beach or somewhere with a Cosmo.
That's how it all began.
And also, so just to, Mark Varadian and Andrew Lazar, who are sitting at the end, they are the people who gave us our first big break in the entertainment business. They bought this script that two girls got drunk on a beach and wrote, and they're the ones who made it into a movie. So thank you very much, you guys.
Andrew, Mark, so Touchstone is an off-branch of Disney, and not so many Touchstone films get made anymore. I think the last one was Lincoln. But the thing is these movies were so popular. You don't really see them now. But you know, Bring It On and She's All That and 10 Things I Hate About You, they're all just something we don't really have anymore. But how did you land on this specific film for and then where'd you go from there?
I was a very young executive at the time, so maybe I was just a little bit naive. This was one of the early scripts. I was a creative executive, I guess, a director of development, so I'd been there a couple years. Touchstone doesn't exist anymore, as you know, but it was, at that time, it was meant to be doing sort of adult, non-family programming, and this was about the least family script that I had read in a long time, because as you see that, I can't believe when we watch it up there that we can't really have kids drinking beer anymore in movies. We can't really have girls, showing their breasts, teenage girls in movies. There's a lot of stuff in there we wouldn't do anymore, but when I read that script, it was just magnificent. I knew you see it on the screen. It was just something very special and unique. We always look for unique. We look for things that aren't predictable, things you haven't seen before. And when I read, Andrew gave me that script, I knew it right away. I mean, I knew literally instantly. I'm like, we're making this movie. And it took a little while after that to figure it out, but really it was Andrew who found it and talked me into it.
I didn't know you guys wrote it on the beach because I read your script while I was on the beach in Fiji. Yeah, it was pretty, and I read it and I rarely read a spec script and love it so much, because usually a lot of times you'll develop a script from scratch. And it's literally, I think maybe that one of the only films I've ever made that was a spec script that I didn't actually have, I wasn't in on the ground floor. And I read it, it was so evolved and so funny and so mature and witty. And we kind of went around, in fact, sometimes we were doing some work as we were making the movie, and we always just went back, oh no, let's go back to Kiwi and Karen and their words, and really we fought hard to keep the script intact and not let people screw it up, because it was brilliant, and it still is. Yay, Kiwi and Karen.
So, going back to Karen and Kiwi, did you guys have any idea that this film would blow up like the way that it did? I mean, it was insane. I mean, they casted so many amazing people that are here and not here.
I mean, I guess I would want to hear from the actors, particularly Joe. Do you remember when we first met? Kind of? Let me take you back to 1998. I don't know. Do you remember that we had a meeting with you at a restaurant in Hollywood because you'd read the script, but you were kind of uncertain whether or not this is going to be like a legit smart project. I don't know. And then they sent us, Andrew. You were at this meeting. Do you remember this? Anyway, but then we had a conversation with you, and you were just very articulate about what you wanted the movie to be, and just being cautious about being part of a teen movie, not sucky teen movie. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I was probably, I was a teenager and ashamed of being one, and probably didn't want to portray one, but I'm glad I did.
Now, Larissa, you, like I mentioned, Alex and I, first of all, it's great to have you this time. She tried every which way to get here for the last one, and she just couldn't make it out, and I'm so happy to have you
I
here.
lost my wallet.
Yeah.
Because the day before we did the screening for the 15-year anniversary, I lost my wallet, like an adult, like a responsible adult, and so I could not get on a plane without identification, so I missed it. So I'm happy to be here.
Well, yes, happy to have you.
I have
And
2 forms of identification.
I have 3. So when you're departing Alex Mack, this huge Nickelodeon, which I thought Nickelodeon personally was way cooler than Disney Channel when I was a kid. I thought Nick ruled.
Nick's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, right? So you're coming from this, and then you enter into the theatrical world for sure, and your first teen kind of on-set role. And how were you nervous going in? Or I mean, you're playing such a sweet character. She's
Is she
she doesn't know. I don't think she knows who she is, but I think
sweet?
by the end of it,
There's a sweetness to her. I actually,
break her down then.
Cameron's probably the sweetest character.
Yeah.
He's the sweetest. Here's what I'll break down. We were all on the same page. We were all very much on the same page. We wanted. I actually think it really shows. I mean, aside from the fact that we were still, babies, actual children, but I think it really shows that we were taking the process really seriously. All of us. It was important to all of us. I mean, Joe and Julia and I were like applying to college. I mean, we were all very much in the mindset of wanting to make it real and have it feel grounded in something. And so, yeah, of course I was nervous, but I think we were all very much in the same boat. It was so much more of a team effort than anything that I have experienced. We were lucky. We were lucky in that respect.
Playing this Joey Donner character, I know it's a famous role for you in your career, but you're the nicest guy. So, like, how hard is it to be like a complete? Well, you've got a devilish side, but I don't know. But like, the point is like. How do how did you prep for this role? Like, this was...
Can I say that I had the biggest crush on Andrew when I was like 11? Maybe 12.
Same here.
When camp, I had so many Camp Nowhere posters in my locker. I can't. I still kind of can't.
It's turning into a roast real quick. I just want to, before I answer the question, give a quick shout out to Richard Gibbs, who is our music composer of 10 Things, right here next to Malta. And then Kay and Michael from Letters to Cleo, who are performing in a few minutes right back there. I see you guys, and I love you guys. The music, it's everything in this movie. I was 19 at the time, so I think we were all kind of in this, we had worked a little bit a few times before this film. We're up in Seattle. It was like yes, Seattle. I don't know if you could tell, but I took it very seriously. So that was it. I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be that guy. So, simple answer, I think.
So you mentioned Seattle, and a lot of people probably know, but some don't, that this was originally going to film in Los Angeles, like just mere weeks, and then the photographer went up to Seattle and said, no, we have to film the whole thing here.
Literally, you can see how much fun we had making the movie because there was just a lot of love put into the film and a lot of joy from everybody.
It actually cost a lot of money to go up there.
So Kyle, your role is a bit smaller, but there is no small, yeah, exactly, and especially, I'm debating if I want to ask you to say the line or not. But no, were you living in Seattle? Were you from
Actually,
LA?
10 Things I Hate About You was my first audition.
No way. How was that?
Yeah, and so I didn't have a headshot, or I didn't know what I was doing. I took a casting director class and was just weird in the class, and then they called me later and said, hey, we just want to bring you in, we have this part for a total nerd. And I was like, oh, thanks for thinking of me right off the bat. And then we got to the audition, there were like 500 of the nerdiest people with like propeller hats and like pocket protectors. Like, well, someone's obviously gonna beat me for this. And then I nailed it. They were just like, yeah, we don't have to change your clothes or your hair.
How many takes did you do?
You
of
look
Nigel
like
with the
shit.
Breed?
They said, you look like shit. You got it. And so, how many takes what?
How many times did you have to say Nigel with the Breed? Did you know that that would become the best line of the movie?
I mean, I've had 20 years of people coming up to me and just do it. Yeah, right. Yeah, no. I would imagine people have probably people have heard of you, right? People have seen your part too. I hope you got as much success as I did, and I'm happy for you if you've had any type of career. Anyone else could have got to have anything as big as me, but yeah, no. The part was small, but it's how you use it.
And you've shifted from acting. That's what you told me every time. I forgot that. Okay. Next question. Okay, so it's the 20-year anniversary of 10 Things I Hate About You, but it's also the 10th anniversary of 500 Days of Summer. And something I personally want to know is, this was kind of your only real teen film to take on, and then 500 Days of Summer was sort of an anti-love movie, but in your career, approaching that role as young Joe versus then, how did that happen in your in career? Like taking on such a cynical look, but also having played such a great, honest kid look.
So you're saying like once every 10 years I have to do a movie that people actually like because it's...
Something in the middle now.
So it's probably about time to get around to doing that again. Noted.
This is why I love this. No, I guess asking one question to the women on stage. Yes, no. No, I feel like Karen and Kiwi. No.
So because the performances are so authentic, did you guys rehearse a lot? Like I don't, Mark, where you were saying that that's the case, like was there rehearsal built in?
You asked about rehearsals?
Yes.
We were in that Tacoma hotel, and
For all of eternity.
Now, you and David were really serious about it. I feel like, if I remember correctly, it was like you guys had your thing down. Like you guys were. Is my memory correct? About the rehearsals.
Serious about... It depends on what you mean by rehearsals. We were really serious about some things up there in that Tacoma, Washington hotel. No, but actually, I think to genuinely, I don't remember rehearsing, but what I do remember is that we all spent basically every day and every night together, and that's really rare. Normally, when you shoot a movie, you come together and you work, and then you go back home. And we were all, I think, because maybe just of our age, or because we were not in our hometown, and because maybe in Tacoma, there wasn't a lot for us being underage, there wasn't a lot for us to do, but we all just hung out so much, and I think we all kind of fell in love with each other. Like, we all just really loved hanging out, genuinely, and I think that's, if I had to, guess, I think that's why the movie turned out so good, and why people like it so much is because we really, really liked hanging out together, and that kind of thing doesn't actually always happen. And this is, of all the movies that I've done, probably the most outstanding example of that, of a whole cast all like actually liking each other and hanging out with each other all the time, and that kind of thing shows through. That's what I remember.
It's when you have that marriage of great chemistry with great material, it's a pretty unbeatable. No, we were obsessed with each other. I was so sad. Like, I was depressed after this movie ended. I was like, but where do I go? Where are my people? We were so close.
Yeah, you told me a few months ago this was the best time of your life. So, and I think that's the reason why I love it so much, is you can always tell when actors love what they're doing and they're great at what they're doing, that you have an amazing result to come at the end of the day, from script to production to direction to acting.
I want to just, for a moment, Trevor DiCarlo is here. Yeah. Trevor and Lauren, right over there.
I like your beret.
So I met Trevor with Heath, and I feel like, just to take a moment, and obviously as we're talking about this experience, how absolutely epic. I was telling somebody the story of meeting him, and maybe you guys can share your first experience with Heath, but we were in this hotel in Tacoma, Washington. I think we were coming back from rehearsals because he came late. We all started rehearsing, and at that time, there was no internet. It didn't really look. I think I probably had seen a headshot, and I was getting on the elevator, and right as the door is closing, like one of those classic moments, and the door just stops. This guy gets on. He's got a didgeridoo. I don't know if you guys know what it is. And I could just remember, I was in character too. I was like, this fucking guy, really? Long hair, didgeridoo, Australian accent, and that's like the memory of meeting him. But he was absolutely just such an epic part of this project. And as we're talking about it, just to take a moment, and I know that you all can share the stories, but we were fortunate enough to spend time, and Trevor's here tonight, so I just wanted to honor your best friend and that you're here tonight, and of course we love Heath, so just wanted to share that for a minute.
I'd like to open it up. I always ask for at least 2 or 3 questions from the audience, so does anyone have a question? Yes, right there. What's your favorite line? Not mine, not me. Favorite line, really quick.
Favorite line. What's your favorite line?
My favorite line was a line that didn't make the movie, which was Allison Janney, and the line was when, I don't know if you remember the moment when the stuff is thrown against the window, and her line in the script was, "Same little asswipe motherfuckers," and they told us we couldn't say that.
If you notice, the line is, we'd already shot it when they decided we couldn't say it. It was like the ratings board, right? So we had to count the number of syllables, and they CGI'd her lips to say, "Same little asswipe shit for brains." But it doesn't quite match. If you watch it again on TV, watch that scene, and it's a little bit off. My favorite line is, "You are so not who I thought you were," because I think that every time I end something with a guy in my head. I can't actually say it out loud since I already put it on screen. But I'm always like, it's not who I thought it was.
So we have the band here. That's happening. But I just want to say, guys, I think you get my heart. I think you get the fact that these people are like royalty to me. This dude's awesome. That dude's awesome. That dude's awesome. Anyone who is involved in this movie, including the catering, to me is awesome. And there's too many movies and too many things that are depressing and sad, and then there's way too many robot movies. And it's just really nice once in a while to just watch a movie like this that just makes you feel fucking good. And I feel like this film is a perfect example of the way that you should live your life, because when we all walked in here, we might have been kind of happy, we might have been a little sad, whatever, but we walked out probably happier than we did, and that's what this movie does to us. It just makes you get the feels, and that's amazing. I want to thank, again, my charity, Autism. Please, you guys, I really can't wait to continue working with you guys, and guys, I do this, I'm at Movie Dude 18, but guys, my name's Corey, and I just love movies, and I love all these guys, and I'm honored to be able to do this for the second time.
I just want to thank Wisdom for hosting us here, the Wisdom team in the back. Nicole Lynch, you've been working. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Everybody for coming out tonight. The Catamaran crew, a little shout out to my local crew here. And I'm going to hand it to Kyle.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
How badass are you? I like the movie Back to the Future, but I've never got the cast together and just watched the screening.
I send the longest emails ever, and somehow it all gets read, and I get invited or asked to, and it's honestly thanks at the root to David Krumholtz, and really to Kiwi and Karen, who the first people that I met, and like, I love everything, so thank you.
Yeah.
Last thing is, please, if you text it and you donate it to the charity, I'm gonna have these guys sign a poster and a Blu-ray. You can still donate, and right when I do a little mini 2-question Q&A with Kay and them, and they rock on, we're gonna give away the stuff, and it all goes to autism in support of autism. So thank you guys so much, and I love you.
And
yeah, Andrew, go ahead.
don't go far, just a couple moments. We're going to have a special performance from Kay and Michael of Letters to Cleo here on stage. So this is what it's all about right now. Live, this has never happened before, so we're really excited. So we're going to step off, and they're going to get set up, so stick close.
And wait, are we showing some of the more pictures behind?
The pictures are coming. The pictures are coming.
Okay, cool.
So
there's some pictures that I took during the shooting of the movie and the rap party, like really old, like stuff in the hotel room and stuff. So it's fun.
a few photos.
Stuff that no one else has seen before, because everyone else lost their scrapbooks except for me.
Humble brag.
Tip your bartenders. All right. Thank you guys so much.